One of the movies that I have been very, very much excited about, mostly because of who the director attached to it is the upcoming Suicide Squad. Because, first of all, I know. I make no apologies for it. I know the first Suicide Squad movie was kind of a hot mess. I know, but it didn't matter. There was something about that movie to me that was joyously entertaining. Did they make some horrible mistakes in it? Yes. Should that movie had a lot more of Harley Quinn and Joker together in it? Absolutely. I thought those were the best parts of the movie, when Harley and Joker were together. God, that scene with Harley, Joker, and Common in the club, I think that's probably my favorite scene in the movie. I think that's my absolute favorite scene in that movie. Anyway, even though I agree, they brought in freaking music video editors to chop up the movie. I get it. It was a bit of a hot mess. That notwithstanding, I still was entertained by it. And I liked it. And I had fun with that movie. Didn't know how much I was actually looking forward to, another one. But the moment that they brought on James Gunn, and you remember what he did in another movie franchise, the MCU, with a ragtag bunch of misfits thrown together doing the Guardians of the Galaxy. And you remember what kind of specialness he brought to that. And you remember films of his like Slither, still my favorite movie of James Gunn's. All respect to Guardians of the Galaxy. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. But Slither is still my favorite James Gunn movie. But you look at those things and you realize that dude bringing his sensibilities to Suicide Squad. And by the way, don't forget, when Warner Brothers came knocking on his door and said, "You do what movie you want to do, James? You can do anything you want to do." They offered him Superman. They didn't come to him and say, "We want you to do Superman," but they said, "Look, James, any movie you want is on the table. You come do a movie with us over at DC, and you can have your pick, whatever you want. You want Superman? Superman's on the table." And James Gunn wanted to do Suicide Squad. Gunn wanted to do Suicide Squad. And that, to me, just speaks, you're talking a movie universe with Flash and Aquaman and Hawkman and all the, you're talking about one of the greatest pantheons of superheroes, and he had his pick. And I think it says something about the deranged, wonderful mind of James Gunn that he goes, "I want to do Suicide Squad." You mean the movie they just did that wasn't so well? It made a lot of money, but not a lot of people liked it, and you want to do, yep, that's for me. To me, that's wonderful. To me, that puts a song in my heart and made me really excited to see it. Now, I've liked the trailers that we've had for it so far. I've had a lot of fun with them. I think King Shark is going to be amazing, voiced by Sylvester Stallone. But today, a brand new Suicide Squad trailer dropped. And I think it's my favorite one yet. I'm going to be honest with you. I think this new Suicide Squad trailer that dropped is my favorite one yet. And I'm going to tell you what, my absolute favorite moment in this. There's a couple of really good moments, all right? The first one I'll mention is this. I like John Cena and everything, but let me see if, this part here. I like John Cena and everything, but John Cena in the trailer so far has been a little hit and miss. Like the one line he had in the one trailer is really good. It's like, "I thought your name is Peacemaker. I love peace with all my heart, and I'm willing to kill every man, woman, and child to get it. Or I don't care how many men, women, or children I have to kill to get it." I mean, that's a great line. It's a great line. But John Cena's been a little bit hit and miss in these trailers. But then he's got a line in this trailer where, the boss is standing up at the front. She's like, "Your mission is to wipe out any trace of evidence of Project Starfish," which obviously we know what that means, right? When we hear Starfish, we know exactly what that means. But then all of a sudden, John Cena from the back, "Question. Starfish is a euphemism for butthole. Are they connected?" She just looks at him and is like, "No." I don't know why. I love that line. Maybe I'm just 10 years old and just saying the word butthole makes me laugh. Granted, but I thought that was pretty funny. But the best part of this trailer to me, and I'll bring it up here. The best part of this trailer to me, I'll just play this for a second here, is when they're going through and say, wait a minute, you're talking about Weasel. It's like, is this thing a werewolf? He's like, no, you got me. And then he comes along, no, he's not a werewolf. He's just a weasel. He's completely harmless. I love that. And he says he's completely harmless. But then he stops and says, well, what does he say exactly? He says he's completely harmless. And then he goes, well, I mean, he's murdered 27 children. I had to stop the trailer. I laughed so hard. He's not a werewolf. He's just a weasel. He's completely harmless. You know, I mean, he has murdered 27 children. And I wasn't expecting the line. I wasn't expecting that line at all. And I literally, sitting in my office by myself, hilariously started to laugh out loud. I had to pause the trailer. I backed it up, watched it through two or three more times. And I never do that. I normally, no matter how good a trailer is or how good moments in a trailer are, I usually watch the trailer all the way through, and then I'll go back and watch the parts that I really liked a couple more times. But I had, before getting through the entire trailer, I had to stop that, rewind it, stop it, rewind it, stop, rewind it, and then I finished off the trailer. So there's that. But which also tells me that they're going to make this darker, right? They're going to make this darker. I mean, we already know, because we saw from previous trailers, King Shark is we're going to see King Shark ripping people apart. And it's one thing in movies to show robots getting smashed to pieces or showing monsters getting ripped apart. But once you start showing human beings being disemboweled and showing human beings having, you know, their intestines or their organs spilling out onto the ground and being torn to pieces by a monster, you're getting a little bit darker. Even just with a little joke like that, like, hey, one of our heroes in this movie murdered 27 children. You got to sit with that for a minute. You got to let that wash over you for a minute. Because it's a funny line. He's harmless. I mean, he's murdered 27 children, but it's like, wait a minute. One of our heroes in this movie, like, murdered 27 children? I mean, where's James Gunn going with this? And I got to tell you, it intrigues me, so I love it. Now, the one thing about this trailer that I didn't like so much, and we'll see how it plays out in the movie. We'll see. Maybe it plays out great. Maybe it plays out wonderfully. But look, Idris Elba, who is obviously awesome, we know he is clearly the replacement for Will Smith in this. Different character who just happens to be a lethal human who's great with guns. So different character. But if you remember back in the first Suicide Squad movie, one of Will Smith's character's motivations was that of his daughter. So here comes Idris Elba, replacing Will Smith as a new character, who is also a highly, highly skilled human who's great with guns. And it turns out his motivation is also connected to something to do with his daughter. And again, maybe we'll watch the movie and we'll see that they're totally different scenarios. Again, so I don't want to jump the gun on this. No pun intended to James Gunn. I don't want to jump the gun on it. But it seems like there's an opportunity there to you got to take some steps to differentiate Will Smith's character from Idris Elba's character. Because right now, like, you could forgive the average fan out there who watches this and just assumes that Idris Elba is playing the same role. He just, recast. I bet there's a lot of people out there today who just seen these trailers and they're just assuming that Idris Elba was just, recast Will Smith. It's just a recast Will Smith. He's playing the exact same character when he's not, but they sure are making it look like the case. Anyway, that being said, I still think the trailer looks great. I really do. I am kind of dying to see this movie, partially, mainly because of James Gunn, but the trailers themselves. And listen, despite the fact that I did not like The Birds of Prey and the Fabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, I didn't like that movie at all. But despite the fact that I didn't like that movie at all, I still love Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. And so I'm looking forward to seeing her in there. I'm looking forward to seeing Nathan Fillion do his thing. I'm looking forward to seeing Peacemaker in this, because apparently they like Peacemaker in this so much they've given him his own HBO Max series, and they're shooting that already. I'm looking forward to seeing King Shark. I'm looking forward to seeing Idris Elba because it's Idris Elba. I mean, there's a lot about this I'm waiting to see. A lot about this I'm waiting to see. And of course, the main thing behind it all is James Gunn is directing it. So I liked what I saw. The question is for you guys. What did you think about this brand new trailer for Suicide Squad? For me, I really liked it. How did you guys feel about it? Did it work for you? Did it not work for you? Is it indifferent? Jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.